Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Business of Property. I'm just about to add my good friend, Tony Meredith, business coach extraordinaire, to the chat. If you just bear with me for a moment. What is my thing doing? Oops. Sorry, having technical difficulties because I've tagged someone and I can't go back. Give me a moment. I'll have to restart. There we are. Oops. Here we go. We're back on track. Here we are. Let me invite Tony. Hi, Corn. Hi, Tony. How are you doing? Corn's meant to be putting children to bed. Either way, Tony's probably having a bit of technical difficulty as well. But what we were intending to discuss today was the matter of time management, how to prioritize your tasks in your business and in your property journey. So one of the things that whether we're as busy working. Oh, there we are. There's Tony. I'm trying to add you, Tony, and there you go. He's here. Good
Hello.
evening, Tony. Hey, how are you?
Hello. How are you? Watching you fumble around with it all. How are you going?
That was me, and I was like, I've got this all under control. It's okay. This is the live world in action.
This is live TV, hey? They say, what's that? Never work with animals and children. This is live TV, so this is how we roll.
Yes. So, are you quite sort of saying I'm either animal or child? It might be one of those.
Not at all. It's live TV. We're on. We've got people giving up of their time. Let's get into it.
Excellent. Time management. That's what we're talking about, and we're very prompt today.
And that's why we're getting into it. See, that's a nice segue, right? We're getting straight into it.
Ironically, what not to do when you're trying to be prompt with your time. So Tony, I did introduce that we were talking about time management, sort of prioritizing. I really like that light. Prioritizing your day or your week, and how to really hone in and focus on the things and the main tasks to be able to achieve your goals. And we've been talking about our why. We talked about goal setting last week, and so we sort of think it's probably good to say, all right, how do we then bring it all in to go, all right, this is my goal. How am I going to get there? But how do I do it with all this other stuff that's happening? We're busy, whether it's busy parents, we're busy doing full-time work, and then there's our business as well. So what are the tips and tricks, Tony, that are going to...
Well, the first tip and trick is to do an audit of where you're currently spending your time. That's the very first thing you want to do. So as you said, Cheryl, we've worked through what's our why, we've worked through our what. Now what you want to do is work out where are you currently spending your time. Now, I'll bet that when people have the honest factor going on, there'll be an enormous amount of time watching telly, enormous amount of time watching social media. Now, if they're watching you and I, that's allowed. But other than that, no social media. There'll be a lot of time procrastinating. There'll be a lot of time doing things that are urgent but aren't important. So the first thing you want to do is you want to audit your time. And how you do that is really quite simple. Grab a spreadsheet. Along the top of the spreadsheet, put in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. So your 7 days. Down the left-hand side in the spreadsheet, Put in when you get up through to when you go to bed. You might put that into 30-minute increments. And you can either type it straight in or you can handwrite it, whatever you're more comfortable. So print it out and handwrite it, whatever you're more comfortable doing, but you want to start to audit your time and be honest with yourself. So if you're sitting there doing not much at all, if you're sitting there watching telly, put it in. Do this over a week or so and see how you go. That's the first thing that I would challenge you to do, because we all have the amount of time, the same amount of time. The difference is that the successful people know how to use their time far more productively than those who aren't that successful.
Yeah, okay. And I have been reading some books about them for many years on how to be able to achieve more in less time. And definitely more so since I've had children, my available sort of time has sort of reduced even more. And so I try to be able to make that time that I have really focused on things to do. And I've been able to adopt a few things. Prioritizing is definitely there's a great book that I've reread recently, really in an audio, called Eat That Frog, and it's by, I'm pretty sure it's Brian Tracy, and it talks about some really effective ways of how to hone in, like you said, on what are the top tasks of your goals. And then break it down into, all right, this week, what are the top tasks? And then out of that, extract out even further. You know, it's almost like a triangle. If you're talking about a pyramid, you've got your goal out here, but how then the little tasks that sort of add up to it, and then break it down into the top 3 tasks in your day that you're meant to be, that you have to achieve, and make that your A task. Like, so make that your to-do list. And then have that A task as the, you know, without a doubt, I'm going to finish this. And the things that you can sort of go, once I've done with my A task, and don't touch anything else until you've done that. So it's A, B, C, D, and E. A task, then move on to your B. Your C is, if you don't really do it, it's not going to really have a big consequence. D is delegate, and E is eliminate. So, you know, that's one way that I've used, sort of ways to prioritize and time manage. Are there other ways that you use that you found?
Yeah, sure, there are. So firstly is I would take it up a level above that, and that is to just with your week. So we've all got 168 hours in your week. How much time can you, so let's talk about, we want to transfer from a day job into our property development. We want to grow this property development career. We aspire to leave our day job. So the first thing is you've got to work out how much time have I got to actually spend on this, because you've still got to go to work. You've still got to be a partner or a mum or a dad or whatever, right? So you've got to put time in for all those sorts of things. But in the time that you've allocated for your property development journey, for your side hustle, call it what you will, then you're right. That's a great, great technique that you can use. I use one similar called stop, start, and continue. So very similar, where you work out, do I want to stop this? Do I want to start this? Do I want to continue this? But first thing is to do your audit and really assess how you're spending your time. Then from there, with the time that you've got available, it's all about, are things urgent or are they important? See, what we tend to do is we spend our time on the urgent things, which may start off as important, but because we left it, all of a sudden it becomes incredibly urgent. And so we spend our time busy doing all of this urgent things when we're not spending time on the important things. And by urgent, I mean, we're just maintaining emails. We're just doing the basic maintenance. We're not growing, we're not improving, we're not stretching and challenging ourselves. We're just doing the bare minimum to get through. I call that stuff the urgent, whereas what you need to do if you want to shift your life, shift towards being a successful property developer or successful in property, then you've got to focus on the important things. That's got to be your priority. The other thing to challenge yourself, which is along the same lines, is to ask yourself, are you being busy or are you being productive? So there's plenty of people out there who'll sit there and go, oh, gee, I'm busy. Oh, boy, I'm working flat out. But are you being productive on the things that are taking you closer to your goal? So you can ask yourself a really simple question. And again, we've gone through the why, the what, and now it's the next step in the process. But is this next thing that I'm going to do take me closer to or further away from my goal? Yeah. If it's going to take me closer to my goal, then fantastic. If it's going to take you further away from your goal, then you need to, answer that question, and you need to be comfortable with the fact that it is going to take you away from your goal. And it's okay. There are things that take you away from your goal. That's okay. But it's when you take yourself away from your goal consistently that you've really got yourself a problem. So, challenge yourself. Am I being busy? Am I just doing stuff in no particular direction with no alignment to where I want to get to, or am I actually being productive? And I see an enormous number of people, sadly, who are busy, who complain about they've got no time, but I would argue that you're not spending your time on the right things.
Okay.